Hello guys, Commander Dante here, and today I'm going to talk about the electric car revolution. Now, just to give you an introduction, BEVs as they're called, battery electric vehicles, have been seen as the green alternative a lot recently. Now, of course, there are caveats to this, such as the main source of batteries being lithium-ion batteries, and lithium not being a very green element to mine at the moment. But of course, at the moment, lithium isn't used very heavily in batteries. It's about 1% of most modern batteries. Furthermore, recycling could solve this problem soon. That's a bit weird. I've never seen two helicopters fly side by side so close. They've both got weird green lights. I've never seen helicopters with green lights before. Anyway, continuing on. So, compared to ICE internal combustion engines, they've been a lot more clean. They're more efficient. 90% of about 99% efficiency for electric vehicles, whereas internal combustion engines, due to the small size of the vehicle, it's only about 30 to 40% efficiency. Now, obviously, coal power stations and gas power stations reach 50% efficiency quite easily, but that's still less than the efficiency of having it in a battery. Hybrid cars have also bridged the gap, but the problem with hybrid cars is that they're actually less efficient in some ways because, well, you still have the internal combustion engine, but you also have a big heavy battery, so it's carrying more weight. Which means if you don't charge it, if you use the internal combustion engine for anything other than emergencies, you're actually far worse than often having a simple car with an internal combustion engine. Although, obviously, if you have a very expensive sports car that's even more inefficient, at least at low speeds, then there's a caveat to that as well. But most people just have normal cars that are generally quite efficient for when it comes to miles per gallon. Now, in the past decades, they've gone from being considered ugly, short range, expensive, and slow to being at the top of the luxury car lineup. Tesla Motors has consistently outsold BMW and Mercedes in the luxury car market, despite the lack of charging stations, and the market only continues to grow. Multiple EV startups have appeared, and many car manufacturers are now unveiling all-electric cars. You might have seen some examples of this: Porsche, Ford, General Motors, basically every vehicle. I mean, Volkswagen, Toyota, and BMW as well. Basically, every car manufacturer has been forced by Tesla Motors to start producing electric cars, even if they aren't necessarily going to be what they focus on. They have to produce some, at least. Now, and the history of the electric car is actually quite interesting because it was invented before the internal combustion engine vehicles. Now, it's often credited to Hungarian engineer Ányos Jedlik, while French physicist Gaston Plain invented commercial rechargeable lead batteries in 1859. It took an Englishman, Thomas Parker, to combine the two in a carriage to create the first production electric car built in London in 1884. Obviously, Tesla also, Nikolai Tesla, not Tesla the company, Nikolai Tesla the man, known by many as a very famous inventor who made a lot of advancements related to things such as related to electricity, basically. And especially magnetism. He also created a type of electric motor. Now, Henry Ford, who was friends with Edison, partnered with Edison to explore options for a low-cost electric car in 1914, although it was his Model T that dealt a blow to the electric car. In 1908, the Model T made gasoline-powered cars widely available and affordable, well, to upper-class people, obviously, at the time, although it later eventually became affordable for the middle class and then the lower class. By 1912, the gasoline car only cost $650, which was a bit more than it is now, due to inflation, obviously. But the electric roadster back then sold for $1,750, so over about 3 times the price. That same year, Charles Kettering introduced the electric starter, eliminating the need for the can crank and giving rise to more gasoline-powered vehicle sales. Now, more recently, GM produced the General Motors EV1, in 1996 to 1999. However, they didn't choose to do this to improve their sales of vehicles. They actually were forced to do this by regulations at the time, and basically they were losing money on these. Now, obviously, perhaps if things had been done differently, if they'd had better engineers and better management, maybe they could have succeeded on this, but even back then. But regardless, they just chose to destroy all the vehicles, to recall and destroy all the vehicles after they were no longer required to be selling them. It was the first mass-produced electric car from a major automaker. The decision to mass-produce an electric car came after GM received a favourable reception for its... Yeah, this isn't entirely true. This is outdated info. It was officially cancelled in 2003 due to lack of sales making it profitable. That's what they say it is, but the real reason is that they had to, by Californian law, I believe, they had to have electric vehicles of some sort. Banning of petrol cars. In the United States, California will ban petrol vehicles in 2035. Yeah, of course, it's California. Canada, Quebec will ban petrol vehicles in 2035. EU zero emissions target in 2050 is supposedly legally binding. Don't know if that's actually true, but I mean it's 2050. That's quite a while away. It's questionable whether petrol cars will even be able to compete with electric cars. Then, I mean, if you consider some of the battery technologies that are available, we could soon have batteries that allow normal cheap vehicles to have 1,000-mile ranges. Not too soon, but easily within the next 10-20 years. Norway will ban petrol cars by 2025, which is surprisingly close by, and Britain plans to ban sale of new petrol vehicles in 2030. So rather than banning them from the roads, they'll simply ban the sale of new petrol vehicles, which means you either have to build it yourself or you'll have to buy an old car that's been pre-owned. Now, how this started? Ever since electric startup Tesla Motors has been cutting into the luxury car market, electric cars have appeared more and more desirable to the average consumer. Now that cheaper batteries are available and fast charging stations are making an electric car more convenient, more people are adopting electric cars. At first, Tesla struggled with range anxiety. Since unlike petrol stations, there are a lack of places to charge BEVs, most people are reluctant to purchase them. However, the Tesla supercharger network is slowly tackling this problem and has been expanding every year. And as you can see on this chart, the electric vehicles are on the cusp of mass adoption, and very soon we should start seeing them being more common than petrol cars, maybe around 10 to 15 years in my estimate. That's about where we should expect to see the electric cars being more common than petrol cars. So the conclusion, despite hiccups and close calls, with Tesla nearing bankruptcy many times in the past 2 decades, their unexpected success has created a domino effect in the car industry, and now electric vehicles are here to stay.